You see, none of the people that shaped how I think about business were traditional entrepreneurs. These are people like Virgil Abloh, James Turrell, Kanye West, Devin Ojas. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how these artists and thought leaders and designers have changed the way I approach life and how I approach business. So for those that are new here, my name is Noah Hunter-Dorsey, and right now we are in Shanghai, China. I've been spending a lot more time in this city in recent years as we have two e-commerce warehouses here, one in Shanghai and one in Shenzhen. We essentially work with e-commerce brands to ship their products direct from China to the rest of the world. So with that being said, let's dive into the video, and I hope you enjoy it. So I think the reason that my biggest influences were not your typical business entrepreneurs and CEOs was because my first love in life was music and videography and design. Business and business operations came second, and that was really discovering how I could monetize those passions that I had to create a life for myself. I've always been about doing things differently and making sure that creativity is the first and the foremost thing that I'm practicing every day, because that keeps my soul alight. And when it comes to doing things differently and creating your own path, I think people like Virgil, who used to say, you know, you just put out work and people either like it or they don't. And there's just no harm in putting creative work out into the world. And that's what I'm doing every single day. I think the best ideas come when you take inspiration from industries and from people that are completely outside of your sphere. That's when things become extremely original. So I'm going to keep pulling from these people, whether it be designers or musicians or artists, that inspire me, and I work out how I can bring that into my business practice. Virgil changed the way that I thought what a founder was allowed to do. And Virgil completely shattered that. He just completely broke the rules. You know, studied as an architect, started Pyrex Vision, then Off-White. And he was crossing and traversing so many different mediums, working with so many different people. So that really inspired me to ensure that I never boxed myself into just one thing, because in this life, you should do absolutely everything that you can. You break boundaries and you create new ideas when you mix two worlds together. You know, it's kind of like what we're doing here, bridging the East and the West with how we work in China and how we launch our business here and grow it. And also for me, the many projects that I've had have traversed so many different spaces and so many different worlds, and that inspires me. I mean, for me, I've always taken this multi-lane approach to running business and turning ideas into reality. If you look at all the projects that I've had, at first glance, they may seem irrelevant, but then you zoom out and you look at the progression of things and you can see how every project clearly informed and was a stepping stone into the next. You know, for example, I grew up as a skateboarder. From there, I picked up a camera to start making skate films. That turned into creating social media ads. That turned into me launching my own products, like skincare. And then that turned into having my own marketing agency to actually run those ads. And then for fulfillment, I needed it. So that turned into the warehouse business. And you can see how things just evolve like that. If I never skateboarded, then maybe I never would have picked up a camera and, you know, nothing would have unfolded like it has. So I just remain open as well to projects, ideas, people, as long as it's relevant. Relevant in the way that each of these projects has a tie to the next. And that's how things grow and that's how things compound. It's not about being scattered or having shiny object syndrome and wanting to do something different every year, but more so about, okay, I got this far, now what's next? How can I build off of this and keep creating? Because ultimately, my passion in life is bringing ideas to life and watching these projects unfold and manifest in front of me. I think one of the illusions that a lot of founders have is that they need to be a master in just one skill, one trade, one niche. And in reality, I think that the biggest advantage now is actually being a jack of all trades. There's that saying, jack of all trades, master of none, like it's a negative thing, but I think it's quite the opposite. And the reason I believe that is because things like AI are advancing so quickly and revolutionizing the way people can learn and do things. And also the global workforce is more connected than ever. You can hire and work with professionals, around the world, different time zones, different countries. So what I'm getting at here is the generalists and the people that have context over many, many things actually have the ability to then start to piece things together, piece different industries together, piece different technologies together. And that's how you create businesses that scale very quickly and disrupt industries. So jack of all trades, master of none. Change your mindset around that. I think that understanding many trades is going to be your biggest advantage. Kanye taught me that delusion is a tool and that you need to believe in things so strongly that it bends reality. It's about believing when nobody else does. And when you're right, that's when it pays off. I think for you, when you have a vision that's bigger than yourself, you need an element of delusion, but you also need 2 feet firmly planted on the ground. You need your head screwed on. And you need to do this because you need to attract the right people into your life to turn things into reality. If you can communicate your vision to others and you can get buy-in, that's when things manifest extremely quickly. There's the saying that if you want to go quick, do it on your own, but if you want to go far, do it with others. So the struggle is, you know what you want to achieve, you're thinking big, but the evidence is not there. And ultimately, to build something bigger than yourself, you need buy-in from others. So you need to have that sense of conviction so that others want to join your mission and believe it, even when there's no evidence. How do you do this? Well, you need to get so crystal clear and obsess over the details of your vision. I think that when you obsess over the details again and again, then you start to believe it. And then you really start to build a framework in your mind and a visual in your mind of exactly what life and what the world looks like when you achieve what it is you want to achieve. And look, this is something that I learned working with Kanye. Whenever we had an idea that needed to be executed, it was never, what do we need to do to execute? It was, who do we need to attract into this business, Yeezy, to make sure that these ideas manifested and we kept taking the brand to the next level. So then there's Devin Ojas, who is designing and manufacturing high fidelity speakers out of New York. And I'm a big fan of his. And what he's really taught me is that you need to value your craft so much that you create products or services that the industry has no choice but to respect them. Sometimes the mistake that I see founders making is cutting corners on their product or their service. And that might be because, like myself, I am a marketer first and foremost. So you can be very good at getting customers in the door. But if your product or your service is inferior to competitors, people won't come back. And when it comes to building a successful business that has longevity, it always comes down to product. If you have an amazing product, well designed, the quality is high, and average marketing, you can still succeed. Because when people buy once, they'll end up coming back and buying again, or they'll tell all their friends about it. If you flip that around and you have the best marketing in the world, but you have a very poor quality product, there's a saying, you can't polish a turd. And you will eventually burn out because you might be good at acquiring customers and you make profit on that first sale. But if people aren't coming back, it's only a matter of time that things start to fizzle out. So this is the importance as an entrepreneur, to make sure that first and foremost, you are building an incredible product. There's an extreme example of this. You can take a company like Tesla, who make an amazing product. The technology is insane, the product is superior, and they do little to no marketing. You just know the product is the marketing. So there's this quote that's in line with this, and it says that you can either have a great product, you can have great marketing, or you can have great sales. And if you have 2 of those things, then it becomes extremely powerful. For me personally, I would always opt for a great product to be one of the 2. And then either build an insane sales mechanism to deliver that product out to the market, or an insane marketing system. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're building your business. At the end of the day, a great product will sell, and you should never cut corners as an entrepreneur. Yeah, I've got to say that the store fit outs in China are next level. Like, we're here in Gentle Monster and they've just created an entire world in here. Which leads me to the final person that I want to chat about, which is James Terrell. And James Terrell uses light and space to create these insane atmospheres. And what I really took from him was that the atmosphere and the space that you create has a direct tie to how you perform. So whether that's your office, whether that's where you live, anything like that, creating environments, creating spaces where people come in and they feel like they're in a new world is the best way to get the most performance out of not only your team, but also yourself. And that's why I've always had offices and put a lot of energy into creating amazing office spaces. That's why I invested in land in Bali and built villas for founders to retreat. And also my home space, it's a sanctuary. For a lot of my early years working, I was both living and working from my home. And as soon as I got an office and I had clear separation of those two spaces, it was a game changer for me. At home, it's my sanctuary. I can, turn off all screens, put a red light on, put some music on, and relax. When I go to the office, it's a high performance environment. When I go there, I know I'm going to lock in, and my team feel the same way. So I would say that invest in your space, invest in your environment. It's like the most important thing that you can do. The city that you live in, the house that you live in, where you go to work every day, these have huge effects. I'm Noah Hunter Dorsey. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or ask me anything about the video, and I'll be sure to get back to you.